Welcome to the ProcureTech podcast, bringing insight and inspiration into how digital technology is shaping our profession. I'm your host, James Meads, tea drinker, expat, and definitely not your typical consultant. Hello, good day, wherever you are in the world. And here we are with another episode of the ProcureTech podcast. And today we've got a guest who is CEO of one of the new startups in the procurement technology space. And when I first stumbled across this, I was really intrigued because I'm an avid user of a software app called Trello, which is really good for sort of productivity and looking at your to-do list in a very sort of holistic fashion. And when I saw this product and looked at a couple of screenshots, I thought, that's kind of like a similar thing, but in the procurement space. So without any further ado, welcome Tarmo Saidla to the podcast, CEO of Procurement Flow. Hello, Tarmo.
Hey, hello. Thank you, James. Nice introduction.
So do you think that's a fair sort of I guess you hear this all the time because the interface does have such a similar look and feel to it.
True. Well, we are coming from the, let's say, founders of Procurement Flow. We're coming from different industries. I'm the procurement guy. Another founder is purely IT guy. So I think it's kind of a good match made in heaven, so to say. Because in IT, tools like Trello, Jira, they have been around and all the developers are using this, and they do not really imagine going back to email trails, etc. But when coming from procurement space, then again, procurement, this is very much kind of email heavy, email threads, searching of information, and this is something where we discovered the need for having a really structured work management tool. Similarities to Trello, that's a fair comparison, and we are really proud of it. But I think we are taking this much deeper and then kind of mixing procurement specific needs with some kind of Trello, Jira looking Kanban guard style interface.
Because is that what inspired you to create it then? Because one of the things, I haven't used the product myself, but just looking at the demos and some of the videos on your website, it does look like something that is really user friendly and quite intuitive to use. And in today's world, with the, shall we say, Amazonization, I can't say that, of the internet, where user experience really is key, is that one of the things that really inspired you to create the product?
Yeah, exactly. This was one of the key. We kind of took really the actual user perspective first, and we have put so much effort into the UX and kind of a front end design. This is something that is really key for us, because we do not want that. When users come to procurement tool, that they will stumble somewhere, or there's something that is they need to like redo some activities or make like clicks which are not really meaningful for them, maybe meaningful for a system or for a backend, but not for them. So the drag and drop, this kind of interface or drag and drop feature, this is one of the key. So you can drag your purchase request to the next stage and do some actions, then drag it to the next stage, and everything is kind of in front of you. You do not need to scroll somewhere. You don't need to click somewhere to go deeper into the system. Everything you need is just in front of your eyes. So this is something that has kind of inspired us. The users need to love the tool in order to start using it.
So continuing on from the whole UX concept and that you want it to be easy to use, the blurb or the USP that you have on your website claims that you can digitalize in a day. Is it really that simple?
Yeah, it is actually. We have made it very simple for users. Pretty much going through the demo call with us, which takes about 45 to 1 hour. During that call, actually the account, the users are already created. Then it's loading in existing data, which is, structured in a way that it can be uploaded easily, meaning suppliers, items, etc. And since the user interface is so intuitive, then there isn't really need to go any kind of a deep learning or some webinars. You pretty much start using it. You hit the plus, you create a new request, and then the magic happens. So yeah, we are not really, kind of lying or saying something wrong if we say that it's that digitalization can be done in a day. In our case, if you take a status quo where users are using emails, Excels, information is scattered around in a different shared folders, and in our case, we bring it all together, and then that can be done in a day.
That's fantastic. And I guess if you can implement it in a day, that would be, to get yourself up and running. I'm guessing, just to be sort of realistic and open, that wouldn't include full integration with an existing ERP system, right?
No. This is this will not include the ERP integration naturally, but as we are saying that our biggest value comes before the PO is sent
before
out.
The PO, yeah.
And the PO means purchase order, right? And this is typically the field of ERPs. But everything what is happening before that, this is kind of we would say also we're using like it's no man's land, or this is kind of a territory of Wild West. So everyone is doing it or solving the problems on their own, or using the different ways. So yeah, but we kind of give a structure to that area.
And when I was that's a really good point, actually, because when I was looking at and thinking about practical applications of how this could be used, there were two areas specifically that came to mind. The first one, and I think you allude to that on your website as well, that it's very good for project purchasing, because for any type of one-time spend or project requirement, the biggest challenge, and if you're from a procurement background as well, I guess you know this from bitter experience, but the biggest challenge is always visibility and early procurement involvement. And I don't know about you, but I've certainly had in my career a number of times when a stakeholder has come to me with a project and said, here's the quote, here's the negotiation, here's the quote, here's the supplier, can you go and negotiate 10% off it? Well, what do you want me to do if you've already promised the supplier the business? Whereas with something like this, if stakeholders have got a tool that's easy to use, that they can just plug in their requirements without the need for the whole email tennis or Excel spreadsheets, that to me is the real value that it creates, sort of pre-PO. And I guess the other one is around if you've got remote teams, especially with tech companies and SaaS companies, if they've got needs to procure things, especially things like travel and hotels, if they're meeting up a couple of times a year with a remote workforce, this tool, I would imagine, really comes into play and has a lot of value there.
True. And this remote work, this is nowadays, it's actually really, let's say, accurate topic, or actual topic at this moment. All of this virus spreading around, factories closed, seized, and people need to stay home on a quarantine. And we know that, the ERP solutions, although something works over the VPN, but VPN also can be in certain countries like very location specific, and then if you're at home, then your location is not allowed to use VPN. So yeah, the cloud based is a key to get the tools into the cloud, so that it's easy to access from different locations, and you can kind of continue working, right? And maybe another thing, because we know that in procurement there are these kind of three things which are the most kind of critical, or which take most of the time from the procurement teams. One is kind of how do you structure or collect requests or need, kind of this request management. This is like a big topic what we are solving. And then is everything around approvers or approvals. You need to ask approval, you need to follow up approver that it is approved on time, and then the people are on vacation, etc. And then somebody from project management comes to you and asks that, hey, where is my stuff? Or what's the status? Then this meaning the status handling and visualizing the current status. So these are these three things that we are mostly working on, or what we are actually solving. So yeah. And then now the remote work topic is very, 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 very active. I was just having a discussion with one of the customers here. Who is kind of a part of a big global group, and he was saying that, well, really, really active topic currently in procurement teams is that, well, they pretty much need to follow up on the suppliers, ask if they're able to supply, what is their capacity, are they still working, what's the status for the next week, any other kind of this kind of a health check updates. And then this is can be very annoying if you have 50 suppliers to whom you need to follow up. It's kind of a nightmare. So in our case, it's just send one email and that goes to 50 suppliers, and all the replies are also seen in Procurement Flow. Actually, we also support this kind of a quick health check with suppliers and all this back and forth communication.
That's it. It's just like a Kanban board where you can see all of the responses in one place. Certainly
exactly.
As someone that's worked in procurement and done roles that have involved purchasing MRO and a lot of one-time project requirements on things like capex, I can really see how this could add value to a procurement professional. But if this typically is used for more transactional spend and project spend, that in most cases would be, while it definitely saves time and increases visibility and improves productivity, I think that's, no one could argue really against that. If you were sat in front of me and I were a CFO or a CEO of a company and I was asking you, well, what's it going to give me in terms of bottom line benefit? What would be your USP, or how would you answer that?
No, it's a very good point, and again, the USP will slightly, let's say, depend on. Well, now I'm talking a bit like a salesperson, but say the USP depends or differs a bit from the role to whom you speak, right? If it's a CFO, then definitely, kind of a transparency in work, savings, actual savings, because if you're able to discuss effectively and quickly with 10 suppliers, ask their quotations, receive prices, you see the comparison, well, that gives definitely a savings. You can do the cherry picking, pick the best prices, etc. And if you're a CEO or a team manager, then also, well, it allows to manage procurement teams' work, and then we are also saying that it kind of adds additional person to your team who is kind of structured, organized, and helps to manage really the tasks on behalf of everyone else. So this is what Procurement Flow is all about. It's additional team member, but with a fraction of the payroll cost.
So it's kind of like a virtual assistant in a lot of ways, just to keep everyone's task list organized, and so as people aren't working in silos in their inbox.
Yeah, exactly. Because if the work is organized well, then definitely the people can do more with their time. More effectively, and that's a major benefit. And yeah, well, the project-based companies naturally time to market, because they really need to get. When the project is in, this means that sales guy has already sold it to a customer. He's already kind of a bit late. So and the procurement then needs to find quickly suppliers, and then also then try to get better prices than or at least the same prices which were agreed on a sales budget. So or an offer. So yeah, this is a big benefit for project-based companies.
And would you see your typical ideal customer? I mean, everyone when they start a business has an avatar in their head of what their typical customer would look like. Would that be mainly small and medium-sized enterprises in your case, or are you also targeting big sort of corporate strategic sourcing departments with this?
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, ideally, we see our customers, as you said. I mean, small to medium, or more even mid-sized business, who has a procurement team, and then procurement team which needs to be managed well, or who needs to get a tool to do their day-to-day work. But naturally, the bigger corporates. I mean, well, this was something that when we started to develop it, I didn't really thought so much. But now when developing it 1.5 years, and being daily in discussion with different types of customers, I also see the value what procurement flow can bring to or give to these enterprises. And I mean, it's because every enterprise also, they have some kind of niche. I mean, there is the capex purchases, as you I think already mentioned, some indirect purchases, or there is a need to do some procurement centralization in a certain way. And this is where procurement flow is really ideal, I would say.
And just moving on then to my final question, what's next for Procurement Flow? What new developments do you have in the pipeline, or how do you plan to increase usage and develop your product to have more features?
It's a good one again. I mean, development will not stop, right? I mean, I think this tool will never be final ready. I mean, I think we will continue developing it further. I mean, and then that is what we do on a daily basis. I mean, the big thing for us, or the next release, is really we call it like e-sourcing 1.0. So meaning we take the e-sourcing to the next level, and then we start to bring in, I mean, the more intelligence. I mean, AI and ML are hot topics, but it's these are not the buzzwords for us. But I mean, what we want to do is really, I mean, if there is a need, then our tool will already tell, I mean, who are the suppliers on the market. I mean, what's kind of a market price, etc. So all this kind of again, reducing time what procurement team needs to spend on discovering suppliers. So that is also one of the fields where we are moving ahead.
And that's understandable. I guess it's a natural organic progression that the more data that you have on suppliers in your system, the bigger that database becomes, the more valuable that is to a potential client base. Because I mean, obviously it depends to some extent how widely you're spread geographically, but if you're dealing primarily with European customers, then, or even North American customers for that matter, and there's a common supply base that mutual customers could use, then that's almost an invisible win-win of a client purchasing the product. Absolutely.
Exactly. And I mean, end of the day, I mean, if there is a need, then if you have enough data, then actually there isn't really need for having a human interface to kind of make that need to PO and send it out, right? I mean, that can be actually done by the system itself. So also this is like one of the direction to really bring in that automation. So if there is a need which is well described, there is a match on with the suppliers. I mean, the price is according to the average price, or according to the boundaries. Then the PO will be sent out to supplier, followed up by order confirmation, etc. And then that is all done by the system, by procurement flow. So really taking that operational matters into our hands.
Fantastic. So Tarmo, thank you very much for joining us today on the Procure Tech podcast. If you want to find out more about Procurement Flow, you can go to the website procurementflow.com, all one word. You're based in Tallinn, Estonia, Tarmo. What markets are you currently active in?
Well, we are active in geographically, it's a whole Europe. We have in strategic countries. We have, I mean, Italy, Spain, Czech, Slovakia, Portugal, and also Brazil. We have a country managers in place. So I mean, we are taking care really the countries. I mean, in local language as well. But yeah, it's currently it's mostly Europe, and this is due to by customer support reasons. I mean, because we want to be on a same time zone and all that stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, this is something that also like expanding to US, Australia, etc. I mean, is on our horizon.
Fantastic. And if anyone would like to get in touch with you personally to learn more, what's the best place to find you?
I mean, the natural, I mean, the LinkedIn is a good place, I mean, to connect on LinkedIn or just write an email, right? I mean, tarmo.saidla@procurementflow.com.
Okay, and I will spell that for everyone in the show notes, just in case, like me,
Cool.
you wouldn't be able to spell Tarmo's name organically. Thanks again, Tarmo, for coming on. Pleasure to have you. And if we get to meet at any sort of exhibition or trade fair in future, you'll definitely have to show me how this thing works, because I think it looks really interesting at closing a gap that has traditionally, as you said in your own words, been a bit of a wild west in terms of what happens before a PO is placed, and ensuring that procurement is involved early in projects, especially in today's world of remote work and multiple sites and international procurement teams.
Thank you, James.
That was Tarmo from Procurement Flow explaining how his company can bring efficiency, clarity, and visibility to project-based and transactional spend to keep everything in one easy to use and simple to read Kanban board, and thus eliminating the necessity to use email as a tool to managing requests for quotation and negotiation. Join us again next week when we're going to have another great guest on to talk about how procurement technology is revolutionizing our profession and bringing efficiency, productivity, and cost savings to all of us. Take care and see you next time. Bye-bye. Thanks again for listening to this episode of the ProcureTech podcast. If you like the show, then please subscribe, or even better, why not write us a quick review on Apple Podcasts? It would not only really make my day, but it would also help our mission to enable procurement and finance leaders to become more data-driven through the power of digital transformation.